excuse me. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, wherever you may be. My name is LD Robinson, and I am here at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day 2023. It is day 8, which is humor. Um, and we are excited to be here. If you do not know what the International Great Black Read Aloud Day is, it is where we are giving voice to words written by Black people from around the world. And so we are celebrating the written word and literature and literacy and the contribution to world literature, I should say, by Black people from all around the world. And so today is day 8 of humor. We are reading. We read throughout the year for various occasions. But this month, because it's Black History, in part because it's Black History Month here in the United States of America, we read every day from a different genre, and it is Humor Day. And so we're going to get started. But before we do, we want to remind you that if you have not subscribed to our website, we would like you to subscribe to greatblackreadaloudday.org. You can see it right down there, like right down there, right down there, right down there. You can see it greatblackreadaloudday.org. There you can find our schedule for the month of what we will be reading in terms of the genre that is. We post the covers and the author's information, author's name after each reading. And so it is updated pretty much daily. And so we are excited about what is happening today. Today is Humor Day, and we want you to subscribe, and we want you to hit like and hit share, and let somebody know that we are reading. And so we have two selections from today because I was having a hard time to decide um, what to read. And so we're going to read two selections, and one is Tall Tales by Obi Echezona, and this is a Nigerian um, based story. And the next one, we'll announce that when we are there. And it's actually How to Be Black by Baratunde Thurston. Okay, so let's get started. As we said, it is day 8, Humor Day, and our selections for today are on the screen. I have to say that if you've ever seen a great Nollywood movie, there's this selection um, will probably make you laugh out loud because you've probably seen something like this in terms of the dialogue, behavior, and activity. So I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. Query. We are all lined up at the vault entrance, like the Von Trapp family children, waiting for the arrival of the captain. And here she comes, the head of operations, chest out, wearing a frown so thick you would be tempted to think someone actually bottled it and sold it to her. I call her Medusa. Not to her hearing, of course. There is none like her. She doesn't acknowledge our mumbled greetings. No. She just proceeds to bark out orders with the intensity of a machine gun. Mr. Bola, Madam, what is the bank's policy on shirt color? I don't know, Ma. You don't what? You know the color. That's not the color. Blue and white is the color. White, white, not mud white. I won't tolerate it again. Let this be the last time. Do you understand me? Yes, Ma. And you ought to be smart and at least polish your shoe. Didn't your wife see you as, oh, I forgot, you are still a bloody bachelor? Of course, she is referring to me and to my shoes, which I polish every morning, by the way. But the daily trekking from the bus stop always made it seem like I walked through a cement factory. I don't mind the insult, but I always flinch when everything she has to say to me somehow, some way, ends up on the subject of my protracted bachelorhood. I hate to admit it, but she has this uncanny ability to make you reevaluate your life every blessed day. But not in an empowering or positive way, more like in a resign and go home and drink rat poison kind of way. And this is the routine every morning. Open the vault and collect your own share of the money you will pay out for that day. And heavens help you if you don't balance at the end of the day. Yep, you guessed it. I don't like the job. But what can one do? There is no job in town, so you cling to the one you have, the way a drowning man clings to a floating log. I have learnt to hang my dignity on the pole just outside the bank's premises, to be retrieved as I make my way home after work each day. It is a tough job, one that has made me realize that most adults are just children with jumbo sized egos and not much intelligence, some of them needing map to find their own butts. Every day I stand at my cubicle watching the battle play out, to write or not to write, to sign or not to sign. Watching them is pathetic. The only other thing more is I and my colleagues, or should I say coworkers, as they carried out their duties like people in a trance. The cubicle closest to mine is occupied by Irene. She spots a low cut dyed brown with brown lipstick and brown fingernails to match. It was not hard to see why the men queue up to obtain her service. She has this she has this side chick vibe about her. The one that will do all the things your girl won't do. It didn't matter that her mood is usually inversely proportional to the weather outside. If the sun is out, she will be quite saucy and nasty, hissing at customers like a provoked mamba, but still the male customers prefer her to attend to them. Rainy days meant fewer customers, so she could indulge in her favorite pastime, chewing. Irene can eat like no other person I have ever met or will ever meet. Her jaws work harder than those of a ruminant. In the space of an hour, she can go from licking frozen ice cream to chowing down on hot akpa. The cleaners stay busy running food errands for her. One time, she kept pulling stuff out of a black nylon bag and shoving it into her mouth, not pausing to see what she was eating. It was probably the strange texture of what she put in her mouth that made her stop and look, only to see the half chewed abdomen of an American cockroach in her hand. She spat out the remaining content of her mouth with such force I was surprised several teeth did not join the deluge and ran screaming to the convenience to flush her mouth. It was a hilarious moment in an otherwise boring schedule. But I didn't laugh. If anyone else is more bored of this job than I am, it's probably Irene. That aside, she was just another evidence to show that the sight of a well endowed female makes the gonads of a typical man to swap places with his cerebrum, at least until he departs from her presence. For despite all her sauciness and downright rudeness to the male customers, I always hear the words, "Take this for lunch," whenever she is done paying them. I could hear it 20 times in a typical day. I don't think she ever touches her salary. And me, I hardly hear those words. I attend to customer as professionally as I can, but I hardly ever hear those words. Not that I am complaining. Well, I will admit it hurts a little, but I guess life is fair to the fair sex in matters like that. Work starts 7:30 a.m. and ends any time from 6 p.m. Of course, you can put in extra hours if you want. Just know you must be at your desk at 7:30 the next day or someone will debit your account for lateness. And extra hours don't mean extra pay. Most times, I have this overwhelming sense of lost time. I am not feeding my brain in any way. The only things I read are either customers' instructions or the bank's policies. And I get home so exhausted, there is no question of reading anything else. I just crash in my bed till the next morning. Then rinse and repeat. 7 years and counting now. I have wanted to resign so many times, but the best intentions don't always come out right. I am paralyzed by fear of the unknown. I stand in my cubicle all the time. There is supposed to be a seat, but Medusa has removed it. She said seats are for lazy people. I hate that woman, and I spend considerable amount of time dreaming of the day I will get my revenge on her. There will be many ways to achieve this. The third cubicle is occupied by Warren. He is a tall, thin guy that barely ever spoke except when it was time to lead morning prayers. He can go at it for hours if they let him. The manager would always say, "Warren, lead us in prayer. Make it short, please." He has never asked me to lead morning prayer. That's fine by me, as God tends to answer the opposite of my prayers. Manager says I'm brutal. I don't know what that means. The man is an enigma to me, being that his office is upstairs in the marketing department. I hardly see him during the day. He is a man of ample proportion, but I guess someone somewhere tells him otherwise because he always wore very tight suits. I see him every morning looking ready to burst as he bounced up the stairs. I half expect to hear the loud sound of tearing fabric, but that has not happened yet. He is a jolly good fellow the few times I see him anyway. Truth is, I just want to do this job and go home. I want to keep it simple, but they say I should do more. Do more how? Is it not enough that I don't overpay customers? The manager says I am brutal, that my attitude needs adjustment. Medusa says I need to smile more, engage the customers. Don't be a robot. Get married. It will soften you. I hate that woman. She knows I process about 300 tickets daily. That's a lot of human complexity to navigate, all the while standing and most times with a growling tummy. I should smile more and leave the frowning to her. Some days are bad, some days are the worst. There are really no good days, at least for me. Good morning, cashier. Good morning, sir. How may I help you? I want to cash this check. Okay, throw it up and catch it then. I almost say, but instead, okay, sir. Please write your name and address at the back of the check and give me your bureau. I hate giving out my bureau being a pen, because 9 times out of 10, it never comes back. I also hate being interrupted. I handed him the bureau and watched as he started to write. I could tell he was not literate. It amuses me when the bureau quivers with confusion. You could feel the struggle. This always evokes mischief in me, and I decided to make life even more difficult for them. Sir, you need to append your signature on the posterior of the instrument. What? Append your imprimatur on the posterior. I know, understand. And I would then switch to sign language. It is the only time I smile on this job. I guess I'm brutal after all. Hello. Good morning, Ma. Morning. I like to cash a check, please. She stood tall before me, a good 6 or so inches taller than me thanks to her stiletto heels. But her height was not the first thing I noticed. It was her boobs. She had them packed like exotic tropical fruits on a first day display, literally begging to be grabbed and squeezed. I have never been captivated by a human body part like this before. I knew I was staring, so I quickly glanced at her face. She was making a call and didn't appear to notice my notice. Her face was old but well maintained. You could tell she traveled a lot and was an ardent medical tourist. You could also hear it in her voice. She sounded like a character in a channel showcasing vapid Hollywood beauties, totally out of place in a banquet hall in downtown Lagos. She shifted, adjusting her cleavage absent-mindedly, and her twins flashed again like neon lights. Nice boobs, Ma. Sorry? Oh my goodness, I must have spoken my thoughts out loud this time. Did I really say those words? Did I really say that to her? The woman dropped her phone on the slab. My heart began to beat like a war drum. What did you just say? Her voice had risen sharply. There was a look of incredulity, incredulity, incredulity in her face. Sorry, y'all. Nothing, Ma. You are a liar. I looked around I looked around wildly. Everyone was watching us now. Madam, I didn't. I want to speak to your manager at once. This has gone from 0 to 60 in a blink. Irene came over. In all the confusion, I could see that her eyes strayed to the cleavage as well. What is it, Bright? She said I began only to be cut short. Where is your manager? And that was when Medusa came gliding over. Nothing brings her faster than a raised voice, not necessarily to solve the problem, but mostly to nail the culprit. Even if it was the customer that was at fault, Medusa will still find a way to blame the staff involved. If customer is always right, the staff must always be wrong, right? Yeah, right. Madam, how may I be of help? Are you the manager? Yes, madam. This staff is very rude and disrespectful. Medusa threw an acidic glance at me and then glanced at the boobs that were now heaving in distress. Sorry, can we go to my office? Oh, sure. And with that, they stumped off to her office. Bright, what did you say that made her so angry? Nothing. Geez, what kind of mess is this one? Why is she being so insensitive? Who wears undersized blouse with plunging cleavage and gets mad at a polite compliment? Maybe she was fishing for compliments, but only from a certain caliber of men, not the likes of me. Countless thoughts swirled through my head, but I could clearly see the query at the end of the tunnel. Only God knows who the witch will copy. She will copy manager, of course, but I can live with that. I am sure he too was young and prone to bouts of stupidity once. He will understand. But what a zonal head, human resources, personnel file. I have always managed to escape an actual formal query, but I had a sinking feeling this is it. Medusa has always declared her aversion to giving queries, but I know the woman has been targeting me. I wonder what the subject would be. Inappropriate remarks to a customer, unprofessional conduct, shocking behavior. Will I be sacked? Why not go out for a while and sort yourself out? Coming from Irene, another shocker this afternoon. So, somewhere deep underneath all that cake and ice cream, she had a beating heart? Thanks, I mumbled. As I made my way out, I could still hear the woman's voice rising and falling in Medusa's office, while the latter, softer but somewhat deadlier, tone cooed on and on. I spent roughly 35 minutes in the canteen, trying to gather my thoughts and accept whatever will come my way. I decided that I will simply deny the charge and stick to my story. The woman was on a phone call all through her short stay in front of me. She misheard me. I never said those words. To apologize would be to lose my job. And a job is still a job, at least for now. I got back in and saw a white envelope on my keyboard. That was fast. Another thing I didn't like about this workplace is that negatives come quickly. Reward time takes years and countless deliberation. A customer makes a wild claim and the staff gets an envelope in roughly 15 minutes. That's the culture here. And I fear the subject was in red. And like I feared, the subject was in red, excuse me. Query: persistent unprofessional conduct. I knew it. This is the sort of query that we call your cup done full. The sort of query that covers all the other queries you would have received in the past, but for the grace of God. Persistent. Now I'm no longer worried, but getting angry. The whole thing has been a storm in a teacup. And the more I read through the lengthy piece, the angrier I became. Medusa just loathes me. The paper before me was a chronicle of all my perceived major and minor misconducts. My occasional lateness to work became constant tardiness. Despite repeated warnings, poor attitude to correction, shoddy quality of work, I was surprised she did not add failure to marry to the list of my transgression. She was out for blood. And all this was before my latest crime, whose colorful description almost made me burst into laughter. Apparently, I had stared so hard at the woman she dropped her phone in fear. I had made a remark about her juicy breasts and even attempted to grab one under the pretense of customer service. And she copied everyone I feared, even my parents. By now, my blood was boiling, and I was already forming my epic response to this load of rubbish. So this has been our first selection today on Tall Tales. I'm on day 8, which is humor, which is Tall Tales. And it is, and we'll go back and show you the cover as we always do. It is by Obi Echezona. And it is a Nigerian selection of humor. And it reminds me of if you've ever seen a Nollywood movie, as I said earlier, the humor in this is quite funny. And so we are going back to our second selection today on Humor Day, and it is. Oh, let me get back. Oh, it is How to Be Black. And let me see if it will actually let me get to. There we go. I thought we were there. And I don't think it'll let me get there. It is a little interesting. Okay. We're going to go. It is How to Be Black. And I want to show the cover as we always do. And we'll go. I think we're going to have to go without it this time because it just won't let me get there. Okay. Well, our selection for today is How to Be, our second selection is How to Be Black by Baratunde Thurston. And we are going to read our selection today. Okay. And so we are going to actually read from the introduction, which is quite ironic considering that we are reading the International Great Black Read Aloud Day takes place. Um, Particularly for the beginning of the year, takes place in Black History Month here in the United States of America. And so the introduction starts off with, thanks for celebrating Black History Month by acquiring this book. Be not afraid of blackness. Some are born black, some achieve blackness, and others have blackness thrust upon them. Shakespeare. Welcome to How to Be Black, a book I hope will serve as a thrust of blackness in your general direction. First, let's get the disclaimer out of the way. This book is not how to become a black person if you are not already black. You cannot use this book as a magic potion. You cannot digest the printed copy and expect some supernatural physical transformation beyond painful indigestion. If you purchase the book with the intention of changing your race, I thank you for your money, but there will be no refunds. None. Now, more to the heart of the matter. The odds are high that you acquired this book during the nationally sanctioned season for purchasing Black cultural objects, also known as Black History Month. That's part of the reason I chose February as the publication date. If you're like most people, you buy one piece of Black culture per year during this month, and I'm banking on this book jumping out at you from the bookshelf or screen. And if you're reading the book years after its original publication, it's probably February-ish on your calendar. That's absolutely fine. You're doing your part to celebrate Blackness, whether you are Black or not. So I'm going to run with that and offer you some helpful instructions for how to take further advantage of this month. You asked for it. You got a book called How to Be Black, so don't start complaining now. There are, of course, small everyday opportunities to celebrate Blackness. Covertly swapping birthday confetti to red, black, and green colors, giving the secret head nod and mild fist pump to a Black person across the restaurant, stealthily assembling 40-acre tracts of suburban land and mules for conversion into African American farmland and militia training grounds. The list is endless. But what should one do during the official month designated by the US government for the celebration of Black history? Even for Black people, this is no simple task. And if you're not Black, well, wow, the confusion. One can find oneself at wits' end in an attempt to properly recognize the contributions of an entire race to an entire nation across an entire month. Things weren't always this complicated. In 1926, Negro History Week was established by the Black historian and author Carter G. Woodson. It was expanded to a full month in 1976 after the government realized that Black people's demands for self determination and an equal seat at the table of American opportunity could be satisfied either through a comprehensive program of economic and political empowerment or by extending the buying season for postage stamps featuring noteworthy Black Americans by a factor of four. Since the establishment of Black History Month, other groups have been similarly honored. Marches shared between women and Irish Americans, and May among Jews, Asian Pacific Americans, and older Americans. Old people get one third of a month. June has been reserved for honoring gay and lesbian pride, along with Caribbean Heritage Month, explaining June's better known name as Best Parades Ever Month. Given the rapid demographic changes facing America, you would expect a Latino History Month by now. But National Hispanic Heritage Month covers September the 15th through October the 15th. While it is a 4-week period of time, it's not technically a month and forces those honoring the nation's Latinos to buy two calendars. November is National American Indian Heritage Month, in which Americans are encouraged to recognize the contributions of Native peoples to our great nation by eating turkey and enjoying the bounty of the stolen lands beneath our feet. For school children, the Black History Month ritual is simple and automatic. Make posters out of construction paper, attend the obligatory assembly, and learn one Negro spiritual, exactly one, probably wade in the water. The options for adults, however, extend far beyond this narrow set of pre programmed activities. In order to simplify your celebratory options, I've hand selected this list of 10 ways one can celebrate the contributions of African Americans to these United States, carefully designed with a non black person in mind. At the end of the list, I provide a tool for you to assess your celebratory skills, so pay close attention. Before we go to the list in How to Be Black by Baratunde Thurston, I want to remind you that you are listening to the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. 2023 is Day 8 Humor Day. And if you haven't, we want to invite you to subscribe to our website, which is greatblackreadaloudday.org. So back to How to Be Black. Number one, change the wallpaper on your computer or mobile phone to an image of a slave plantation. We'll start with something simple. When your friends or coworkers ask you why you have a picture on your screen of slaves working the fields, you should smugly reply, quote, I believe in honoring the people who made America possible, don't you? End quote. Then gently touch your screen in a longing fashion and shake your head slowly, just to be sure to avoid saying anything like, I know slavery was a horrible institution, but this sentence is impossible to complete in any reasonable way, regardless of whether or not it is Black History Month, and is especially troublesome on the presidential campaign trail. I'm looking at you, Michelle Bachmann. Number two, watch BET. Never mind that it's not owned by a Black person anymore. You can still learn a lot from BET. Primarily, you will learn that Black people love reruns, and if you're lucky, you'll catch the Tyler Perry movie. I know the Internet Movie Database says Perry has written over 10 films, and there may be several titles and even different casts. But if you see one Tyler Perry movie, you've experienced the whole canon, the entire canon. The man has only made one film, and you can watch it, you can catch it on BT repeatedly. Number three, avoid being explicitly racist. This one can be a struggle for many. Racism is everywhere, and it comes naturally, but it's considered to be extra offensive if you are explicitly racist toward Black people during Black History Month. If nothing else, it shows a lack of discipline. If you're serious about hating Black people, prove it by delaying that hate for a few weeks. Racism is exhausting, and you could use a break. Take one. On March the 1st, you'll return to peak form, fired up and ready to marginalize. Number four, know the key people. There have been lots of unsung heroes in the history of Africans in America, but they're unsung for a reason. To appear knowledgeable, you need to know only a few: Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, J.J. from Good Times, Frederick Douglass, Langston Hughes, Thurgood Marshall, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Barack Obama. When in doubt, see if there's ever been a feature length film about the person or a t shirt sold using his or her image. If the answer to both these questions is no, move on. Number five, observe anything and everything that President Obama does. Every single thing Barack Obama does is historic. If he clogs the toilet in the White House bathroom, he's the first Black president to damage White House plumbing. If he forgets the words to the Star Spangled Banner, he's the first Black president to do so. If he continues to wage a war in Afghanistan, bails out Wall Street to avert financial disaster, and continues several of his predecessors' anti civil liberties practice, he's the first Black president to let down his progressive base. Regardless, it's all wonderfully historic and beautifully Black. By observing the nation's first Black president, you are indeed directly and quite literally observing Black history. If someone asks how you're celebrating Black History Month, it is perfectly acceptable to say, oh, I'm following President Obama on Twitter. I like my Black history in 140 characters or less. Number six, hum a Negro spiritual. Spirituals are very important to Black people, for we can be a soulful and musical people, which you would know if you watched BET, as instructed earlier. If you've never heard of spiritual, don't let that stop you. Just start humming and hold the note. Then occasionally change the note. Add a little vibrato. Then return to the original note. Shake your head back and forth for emphasis. Get extra points for doing this while waiting for the office copy machine to finish a job. And get double extra points for doing it when a black employee can see and hear you. For a better understanding of this, spend extra time in the chapter titled How to Be a Black Employee. Number 7, read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Better yet, just watch the movie starring national black friend Denzel Washington. I especially love the part where he organizes the Fruit of Islam to protest outside of the Harlem police station, then surprises his mother by purchasing a mansion for her in the country with all the drug money he made being a road cop with Ethan Hawke in Los Angeles, all while coaching a debate team at a historically black college. Most of what you need to know about black history can be gleaned from these scenes. 8. Acquire a new black friend. Denzel and I are busy men. We can't be the black friends of all non black America. So it would behoove those of you who are not black to get your own. If you find yourself in the unfortunate position of being black friendless, you can either go to the nearest black church and strike up a conversation, or just fire up Facebook, search for black people, and start clicking add friend on the names in the resulting list. Technology is amazing and quite a time saver. Number 9, put pictures of black people on your non Facebook wall. Anyone who's seen Spike Lee Let's Do Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing knows that if there's one way to activate the dormant riot gene in an African American, it's by failing to place images of their peers on the walls of a neighborhood retail establishment, especially a pizza shop, to keep your shop glass intact to avoid unnecessary aggravation and insurance hassles. Just put some pictures of jazz and blues musicians on the wall. If people ask, just say it's Muddy Waters. 10. Demonstrate your superior knowledge of Black history in front of your Black friends. This is an advanced level activity. If you have had no prior experience with Black people, the Black friends newly acquired this month do not count. I strongly urge you to forego this action. Neither Baratunde Thurston, HarperCollins, nor any representatives thereof can assume responsibility for you if you choose to ignore this warning. For those of you who have Black friends already, good job. February is a good time to show how committed you are to understanding your friend's struggle. As much as possible, ask your friend about his or her opinions on some extraordinarily specific detail related to Black history and culture. This is not the time for generalities. Get down in the weeds. For example, have you heard the latest tracks from the Carolina Chocolate Drops? It's like this amazing fusion of old school jug band meets Gaelic music meets hip hop. Oh, you haven't heard of them? Man, you should really check it out. It's so real. Your black friend will absolutely appreciate your knowing more than him about some aspect of black culture. You will be living proof of the value of Black History Month. Carter G. Woodson would be proud. While active observance of Black History Month is its own reward, there are more tangible benefits for those who exuberantly celebrate this month. Below, you will find a box detailing the different levels of recognition and privileges associated with your efforts. If the number of your activities are 0 through 1, your award level is honorary KKK member. Award detail? Really? Over the course of 28 to 29 days, you could manage to complete more than one activity? That's essentially a hate crime. Please try harder next year. I mean, how hard is it to visit barackobama.com and do one other thing? You get no extra privileges. Number of activities 2 through 4. Your award level is Tolerator of Black People. Award detail. Not bad. While not overexerting yourself, you managed to exceed the minimum. You can use this award to eat lunch at the black table in your school or office cafeteria without receiving any funny looks from black people. If someone seated at the table responds to you in an unwelcome manner, just show them your tolerator level award and your copy of this book. They will understand. This offer is only good for one time use and expires within 43 minutes of activation. If the number of your activities is 5 through 9, award level, Negro lover. Award detail? Well, 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 it looks like somebody really loves black people. Go ahead with your bad self. You get 3 black table lunches for use within a year, early access to any new albums by The Roots for life, and twice a year for the next 5 years, the ability to call out black people who you think are being overly sensitive about race. Number of activities equal 10. Your award level is official friend of Black America. Award detail: by completing all 10 items, you have proven your commitment to the Black American community far above and beyond what is necessary. In addition to all the benefits associated with lower level awards, you also have earned the right to attend 2 secret Black meetings a year, the unconditional forgiveness of one racist outburst, and a reusable tote bag. And that's how you celebrate Black History Month. If you only acquired this book to check off your Black History Month obligations, I suppose you could stop reading now, but you already have the book. You might as well keep going because there's a lot more to being Black than February. This is a book about the ideas of Blackness, how those ideas are changing, and how they differ from the popular ideas promoted in mainstream media and often in the Black community itself. You're probably familiar with the popular concept of blackness: hip hop, crime in prison, fatherless homes, high blood pressure, school dropouts, drugs, athleticism, musical talent, The Wire, affirmative action, poverty, diabetes, the civil rights movement, and recently, the US presidency. Some of these concepts are stereotypes, some are true, most are negative. But in the age of President Barack Obama, all of them are limiting and simply inadequate to the task of capturing the reality of blackness. The ideas of blackness that make it into mainstream thought exclude too much of the full range of who black people are, whether it's musical taste, dancing proficiency, occupation, or intellectual interest. All nuances ignored for a simpler, often more sellable blackness. In this book, I will attempt to recomplicate blackness, exposing the challenges, the fun, and the future of being black in the United States. It's also a convenient way to make you care about my life story. My name is Baratunde Thurston, and I've been black for over 30 years. I was born in 1977 in Washington, D.C., in the wake of civil rights, black power, and Sanford and Son. My mother was a pro black, pan African, tofu eating hippie who had me memorizing the countries of Africa and reading about apartheid before my 10th birthday. My Nigerian name was not handed down to me from any known lineage, but rather claimed and bestowed upon me by my parents, who demanded a connection, any connection at all, to Mother Africa. Yes, I grew up in the inner city at 1522 Newton Street, and I survived DC's drug wars. Yes, my father was absent. He was shot to death in those same drug wars. It's also true that I graduated from Sidwell Friends School, the educational home of Chelsea Clinton and the Obama girls, and Harvard University. I love classical music, computers, and camping. I've gone clubbing with the president of Georgia, the country, twice. My version of being black adheres as much to the stereotypes as it dramatically breaks from them, and that's probably true for most of you reading this. If not about blackness itself, then about something else related to your identity. Through my stories, I hope to expose you to another side of the black experience while offering practical, comedic advice based on my own painful lessons learned. For example, in How to Be the Black Friend, I shine a light on the type of black person who quietly does as much to promote positive interracial relations as any prominent civil rights activist ever could. In my opinion, the black friend is a national hero and should be honored for exemplary service. In How to Speak for All Black People, I give you the lowdown on how to break into the exploding world of black pund- punditocracy on cable news. There is always some black related thing happening somewhere in the world, And journalism can't fill all those television programming hours, so those cameras might as well be pointed at you. How to Be the Black Employee prepares you for life as one of the few minorities in an office setting, reminding you that you actually have two jobs, the one on your business card and being black, and offers key do's and don'ts for all important office holiday party. Here's a hint: dancing is involved. Other chapters include how to be the angry Negro, because sometimes it's necessary, and how to be the next black president. It could be you. But wait, there's more. The idea of a book that claims to cover how to be black is, of course, preposterous, but I'm doing it anyway, and I'm not alone. Because the topic is so large and because my experiences can't comprehensively represent those of millions of people, I recruited a few other voices to help this book live up to its title. I interviewed friends and colleagues I felt were strong new models of how to be black. These are seven people who do blackness well, and together they form the black panel I call upon throughout the book to weigh in on important issues. Cheryl Conti is the co-founder with me of the blog Jack and Jill Politics and a partner at F.R.E.S.H Strategy, where she specializes in helping nonprofit organizations and foundations use social media to create social good. Damali Ayo is a conceptual artist, author, and comedian. She created rentanegro.com in 2003 and is the author of How to Rent a Negro and Obama Land Without Racism. She is also the creator of the participatory performance piece National Day of Panhandling for Reparations. Jaquetta Swathmari is a comedian and writer and creator of the one woman show That's Funny. You Didn't Sound Black on the Phone. She's also a libertarian. Elin John James White is a comedian and creator of the web video series This Week in Blackness and the web radio show Blacking It Up. W. Kamau Bell is a comedian and creator of the one man show The W. Kamau Bell, Ending Racism in About an Hour. He offers a 2-for-1 ticket deal to those who bring someone of a different race to the show. Derek Ashong is a musician, entrepreneur, and television host. He co-founded the band Soulfledge, and hosts the stream on Al Jazeera English. He was raised in Ghana, Qatar, Brooklyn, and suburban New Jersey. Christian Lander is the author of Stuff White People Like. He isn't black. I had to include one white person to defend against the inevitable lawsuits claiming reverse discrimination and also to establish a control group. As you can see, this is a rock star panel. To its members, I pose questions such as: when did you first realize you were black? How's post racial America working out? And can you swim? They have done more than provide color commentary for this book. They have helped me find the heart of it. In the final chapter, The Future of Blackness, I combine my own conclusions with those of the people I interviewed and humbly lay out a complete grand unified theory of blackness with a vision for a people and a nation. I did not set out to do this, but it happened and it's kind of awesome. If you are black, many of these stories and lessons and hopes will ring true to you. Maybe you prevented a race riot in your school by employing diplomatic back channels to ease tensions between black and white students. Maybe you renounce your blackness for a few hours after being told by other black people that the thing you do so well makes you not black. Maybe your coworkers think you've just got to have an opinion on every single move President Barack Obama makes. This book is yours. If you're not black, there is probably even more to be gained from the words that follow. They may help answer the questions you'd rather not ask aloud, or they may introduce a concept you never considered. You will get an insider perspective, not only on how to be black, but also on how to be American, and most important, how to be yourself. This book is yours as well. Finally, just in case you were wondering, no black people were harmed in the making of this book. Yours in Blackness by Ratunde Rafik Thurston. And that has been our second selection, a long read today. Um, But we have had two different pieces of humor, really, frankly, showcasing how varied, as we are doing here in the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, how varied literature is in Black culture and in the Black diaspora. And so I would show you the cover, but it keeps popping up. So I'm just going to show you this one again. It is How to Be Black by, I'm sorry, that would have been it. How to Be Black. And then it went away. Okay. I don't think it's liking this. Take it easy. How to Be Black. All right, we're going to wrap this up. I think I have laughed aplenty. So, these are been our selections for today. Our first one was Tall Tales by Obi Ekizuna and Echezona, and How to Be Black by Baratunde Thurston. And we want to remind you that you can follow us online at Black Read Aloud. And we also want to remind you that we partner with F.R.E.S.H Book Festival, and we will, the International Great Black Read Aloud Day will be live at F.R.E.S.H Book Festival this coming February 24th and 25th in Daytona Beach, Florida. So if you haven't been to F.R.E.S.H Book Festival, we certainly invite you to come out and join us for a wonderful time at F.R.E.S.H Book Festival. Hold on, I got banners going here. I need to get this out. Let me get this together. So here is our promotion. Here is the flyer for F.R.E.S.H Book Festival 2023, February 23rd through the 25th in Daytona Beach, Florida. The theme is a reading revolution. And so we want you to go out, get your tickets now at freshbookfestivals.net. And if you are a student or a teacher, your admission is free to the book festival on the 24th and 25th, as long as you show ID. And so we are back, and we want to remind you that we hope you are out here liking and sharing our streams. And if you do, you get a chance to be entered into a contest to win one of 10 Tig Brad t-shirts. Tig Brad is what we is the acronym for the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. You get to win. You will have the opportunity to win one of 10 t-shirts that we will be giving away, because we want to thank you so much for supporting literacy by listening to the International Great Black Read Aloud Day 2023. And if you do, all you have to do, if you want to win a t-shirt, the possibility of winning a t-shirt, all you need to do is grab a broadcast and share it. Share it, tag us at #TigBrad, and we will enter you into a contest to win one of 10 Tig Brad t-shirts. Well, it is another great end to, we borrowed a little time from today, from day 9, but it is another great end. And so we hope you enjoyed our selections today for day 8 humor, which always which always tickles me. So we will see you tomorrow for day 9 of the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. And day 9 tomorrow is about gardening. And so we will see you tomorrow with a wonderful selection on gardening. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night or a wonderful day or great afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. We hope you are reading and that you are out there giving voice to words written by Black people all around the world. Bye-bye.